do your best not to breathe in the actual chemicals that you see coming off of there. I am right-handed, so I use the iron in my right hand and the solder in my left. There's certainly, you can do it either way for sure. These are really close, so I'm going to reposition this just a little bit. I mean, it's best to not have to linger on this board any more time than you absolutely have to. But I will say capacitors, again, are not like the most sensitive that you're going to work with. So if you still just feel like you're getting comfortable at this point, that's somewhat okay. You don't want to linger on any of those dots, like I said, more than you absolutely have to. And again, I'm trying my best to work methodically from one side of the board to the other. And any bit of extra solder, again, I just try to take and hit and just drag up the lead. So if it's got extra on it, you just want to take your time and drag it up the lead. Now those are really hot, so I don't want to touch them. So I'm going to use my pliers, bend those back out of the way so that we can get to that next row. These are my flat build tweezers actually. If you have the duck-bill pliers, that's fine. Either one will work in this scenario. The shorter the leads, the hotter it's going to be. I can tell you that. The heat's not dissipating as much. Okay. Continuing on around. Again, just working my way around the board. Some of these you're starting to see are going much faster now that you get the hang of it. You just want to make sure there's enough solder in there to fill that pocket, and that it is in the pocket down surrounding, so that you get a good solder joint made. Now if you see dark lines on the solder board running from pocket to pocket, that's actually the joy of the pre-printed board. Those are the connections that are connecting each component one to the next. So all of the work is being done inside the actual board. If you've ever seen a breadboard, you have to make all those connections yourself, which can be a bit on the frustrating side if you were trying to do this. It also takes up a lot of space. So as we're doing it this way, you actually have the ability to just go straight at it, and that's the joy of the people that have made the pre-printed boards. So it's a great advantage to have a pre-printed board. I believe that concludes all of the solder joints. Just double checking. And here you go. That is a completed tack for the resistors. You can see I bent some of the wires up out of the way so I could reach the others. But I only do that once I've actually got the solder joint. I'll show you on this camera too. So I actually got the solder joint. So now, final step for those is to clip the leads. Remember, don't be afraid to get down there pretty close. You don't want to take all the solder off, but you don't want to leave any more than you have to. Pinching all these wires up so I can get the best angle at them with the flat cutters. Now there's a good example, like this one right here. I got way too much solder on that. You can kind of see. So really, I'm just taking my clippers and getting the lead and all that extra solder off. So now that same one that I just had, much more consistent than the others. So if you're using that method of hitting and dragging up the lead, then when you clip, you're getting rid of a lot of extra. Back over now with my fingers, make sure I don't feel anything too sharp and pokey that I would need to be worried about catching a wire and cutting it. Anything that sticks up too much, I'm just reshaping with my little tools right here. Actually, just noticed that one of my solder joints doesn't quite have enough solder on it, I don't think. So I'm just gonna very quickly add another tidbit to that joint right there. Visually inspecting as you go can save you a lot of heartache later. So just bear that in mind. Keep your eyes alert to what's happening, because if you see something that's wrong, you can fix it now a whole lot easier than you can fix it after the mic's already assembled and the wires won't let the boards move around from each other. So we've got those done. Now everything's good and steady. I kind of run my fingers over the top of them to make sure nothing's wiggling. If something's wiggling, you didn't get a good solder joint. So just lightly take your finger. Don't bend anything. Just a quick light move of the finger. We've got two more to install on our little board number 2. And that's in slots C1 and C2, which I see are here and here. These are both still the blue capacitors. There's C1, there's C2. Put that in the machine here. Adjust so that it's holding it tight. over. These should be pretty painless based on where they're at. Look good. Wipe, wipe, wipe. And snip, snip, snip. Okay, so there it is. 2 added. There's the back side. Good deal. I'll see what comes up next.